As you can see here, we're working on the entrance to the gatehouse. Gatehouse is from around 1850, and the gatehouse is constructed of brick with decorative elements done in the Seneca red sandstone, which is a very popular material at the time. The Seneca red was a very common and very beautiful material to use at that time. The problem, though, was it's a little bit unpredictable in terms of its lifespan, for lack of a better term. So the gatehouse behind me has shown significant signs of wear. We have pieces that are in perfect condition. We have pieces that are in need of great restoration. So back in the fall, we saw there was one part here, the main entrance, which probably should be addressed more than other parts of the house. And I went ahead and removed most of the stone that you see missing above the door. It's a Seneca red, it's called a label mold termination, and the stone itself was actually one that was probably put in, again, in the 1850s at a much larger piece than the one we're putting in. What I'm doing is I'm putting in a stone Dutchman. A Dutchman is a term for a stone that replaces a stone that has rotted or that needs to be repaired. In this case, we are doing something similar to, but not exactly like, the existing stone on the other side, right there. I was able to secure a piece from an old stockpile I had of the Seneca red, which actually came from my backyard. And today what we're going to do is going to do a little quick demonstration about what it's like to put this stone in the wall. So right now, you can see the back of the Dutchman has been cut. It has been shaped to conform to the shape of the label mold termination we have. And let me show you what we're going to do. And before we leave, we're going to go ahead and do a quick joint of mortar. All right, this is just a regular mortar mix that we use to secure the stone. And then when we're done, I will show you how we're going to make it a finished product using a special restoration mortar called Jan. All right. So we're going to begin by taking the stone here. As you can see, we have a wooden shim, a thin shim, already in place. So what we're going to do, we're going to anchor that stone in its location, and we're going to move it out accordingly, just a little bit here. All right, we want to make sure that our mortar joints are, if not flush enough so that we can fix that with the mortar when we put it in. And when we get a good take on this, just a minuscule hair here and there, what we will do is we'll then take a couple more shims like this and we'll put these in place. Right here, and then right up here, and then our stone essentially is good to go. All right. So, for the time being, this is what a stone looks like in place. All right. We have step back to make sure that our lines are continuous with what's already there in place. We can go ahead and modify this with a cutting wheel when it comes time for the finished product. We've lined up, relatively speaking, the center point of this, and what we're going to do is then going to fill it with a restoration mortar. So let me show you very quick. All right, so we're picking up where we left off here. Now that the shims are in place, we want to make sure that, well, the stone doesn't fall out of place, and so what we're going to do is, I've done a little test shot right here. We're going to go ahead and start the process of securing this with regular mortar. You can see right along here is where we have good old fashioned mortar. This is what keeps it all together. What I'm doing here is I'm going to do the exact same technique as here, but I'm going to make it a little bit different down in this location. I'll explain why in a minute. So the mortar, basic mortar, nothing exciting. What you want to do to make sure that you have it done correctly is you want to wet the surface where you're going to be applying the mortar. You want to take your trowel, you want to put it inside, and you want to make sure as you're doing that you get it into place, the location where it will stay. All right, like so. And then as the mortar will go in, you want to be sure, especially with a stone this deep, that you continue to push it in. You want to push it all the way in, because the further you push it in, obviously the more secure the stone is going to be. And when you have that in place, and just do a test example right here. Let's say we had this stone already done. What you want to do to finish it off is you just simply do finished product like this. Make sure the line is flush, and then you can take either your finger or you can take some kind of sponge and you can clean this up, so the only part that's going to be sticking out when you're done is the mortar joint itself, just like there, just like there. All right, this is the regular mortar part for securing the stone. Let me show you about down here in a minute. Okay. All right, so over here you can see that every treatment above the window, every treatment above the door is going to be different. In this case, the stone that you see right here is actually part of a larger stone which went inside the wall. We've done something a little bit differently here because I want to make sure that the stone behind, which you can see where my finger stops right there, is still in place. Remember, when it comes to a Dutchman, the one thing you have to be able to pay attention to is how much good stone remains in the wall. And that's one thing you do not want to remove, because the more you take out, the more perilous the structure, and it's not necessary. So how we're going to finish this is where you see these openings here. We're going to go ahead and use this stuff, which is basically a restoration mortar that came from Holland. It's been around for a number of years. It's called Jahn, J-A-H-N. And the Jahn restoration mortar is the industry standard for filling in, repairing, even sculpting existing pieces or new pieces. This stuff is so durable and so strong, you could actually, upon its proper curing time, you can actually work it with a Dremel or a chisel. So this is why we use the Jahn when it comes to filling in. And the color you see here is an exact match to what this is, which is the Seneca Red. And so by the time this is all done, and this part here on either side is filled in, it should resemble what we have over here, and the two will be a seamless operation. That's it.